Hello, guys. This is Shar. Welcome back to the channel. Thank you so much for returning. Now, this is a recap of last night's episode of Love and Marriage Huntsville. Now, is it me or why are they continuously opening up the show with Latrice? Is her name Latrice or Latricia? Whatever. Trisha Reedus, Miss Reedus. I mean, good for her that she getting the therapy that she needs and everything like that. But, I mean, hey, she a major part of the show now. I mean, they opening up with her, okay? Which tells you where the show is right now, down in the dumps, and where it's going. I mean, yeah, anyway. So, they open up the show with Miss Reedus over at Miss Reedus' house. She waits for Tisha, big bobblehead ass, and we'll get into her later, before this video is all over with. But she comes over there with her black t-shirt on, promote, right? Because they got to keep the lights on over there, and definitely got to keep the paychecks coming. But shout out to that person who said they had not been getting paid, but hopefully, he did get his paycheck. But yeah, so right away they began fixing, I guess, salads. It looks like they were fixing salads, had their little drinks getting ready to flow or whatever. And Latrice, what's her name? Trisha. She starts to talk about her journey with getting therapy, and Letitia. Damn, it's so many Latricias, even with Bell Collective. I'm getting confused. Now, Tisha, she commenced to start telling Trisha how that's so good. She's so happy for her, so proud. Yes, do what you need to do to be better, do the work to be a better you, be the best you could be, yada, yada, yada. It's like, Tisha, what about your journey therapy? What about your journey with marriage counseling and all this and that? Are you and Marceau still going? Y'all needed it then. You still need it now. Y'all not perfect. Nobody's perfect, but I mean, and don't get me wrong. To the naked eye, it does seem like it's a little better between them two, okay? All Marceau has to do is to stop cheating, or if he don't stop, at least stop getting caught up in some kind of way. You know what I mean? It somehow traces back or circles back around to a clue that he did something outside the marriage. I mean, that's how it was going the last few seasons. So hopefully going forward, she's not faced with that no more. The last thing that she was faced with was the chick that Martell and Coleslaw interviewed, okay? And we'll get to her in that topic later. So, yeah, she was just bigging her up and bigging her on and thanking her, and that's good. And da, 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 da. It's like, girl, what happened to your journey with therapy and marriage counseling? But, she don't want to talk about that, okay? She didn't even acknowledge that she was even getting any kind of therapy. I guess she just wanted us to remember. And, I did. I remembered, okay? So, anyway, after that, before I move on, Trisha, she got all the ladies in mind. She's friends with everybody, but yet she kind of backstabbed to me, Miss Nell, because she was like agreeing, like, yeah, Miss Nell was this and that and this and that and yelling, da, 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 da. You know what I mean? Like, if all of the ladies are your friend, you can't do that to one. Or if you do that, you have to say, well, yeah, I kind of do think she was yelling or whatever. I'm going to talk to her or whatever. You know what I mean? And then actually talk to her. And then actually say, well, when I was talking to Tisha, I did agree that you were yelling or whatever. That's how you keep the peace with all the ladies. Or, you're not putting one over the other or backstabbing the other. I mean, that's what you got to do. And we see that she didn't do that from what it looked like. So, yeah. Then after that, it goes right over to Miss Nell and her husband. They over in her living room. They sitting there talking. It looks like, Nell is reiterating it with Fletcher. she going over all the mess again and how they was lightweight ganging up on her. So yeah, so Miss Nell felt like they were ganging up on her because even though two and three people may not necessarily be actually arguing with you, but if one is asking you something, then another chick is asking you something or saying something to you, and it's kind of going back and forth with two or three people, one will consider that a gang. You know what I mean? One would consider themselves being ganged up on. So I agree with her on that. And I do agree that they were ganging up on her or whatever. Because right now, Tisha and Kimmie are the little dumb gang. Both of them are nuts, not necessarily nutsy cuckoo, but both of them are kind of stupid in a way. You know what I mean? But I understand that y'all husbands is being alleged to have cheated and all this and that, and that's devastating. You don't want to own up to it. You don't want to admit to it. I don't know. You would have to sit down with Carlos King and really devise some type of storyline where this stuff is not coming up. Like, make it where this stuff is not coming up while I work on my marriage or talk to my husband about this stuff. I don't want it on the show, point blank in the period. It's serious, and I want to address it in peace and in private, because if this is, keeps coming up and, I'm still with him or whatever, one will think that I'm just sweeping it under the rug or calling me dumb or calling me stupid or pitiful or this and that is what happens. That's what happened. Everybody think Kimmie and Tisha is dumb. And Kimmie, you in the class with Tisha now. You are simply just in the class with Tisha now. And not only that, you get offended, which it's okay to get offended, I guess, but you ready to get crunk with people, you know what I'm saying, when they get to talk about Maurice. You not having it. Tisha, she just kind of shies away from it and just be like, that's not true, and if God ready to put it in my lap, and but Kimmie is ready to get crunk. We see that, but Kimmie can get knocked down just like anybody else. But anyway, so yeah, Miss Nell said, I accepted her apology, but technically I don't even accept apologies that quickly, especially when you come at me like that. But because it was on film and whatnot, I didn't want to seem like I wasn't the bigger person and not accept it, so I went ahead and accepted. But, I'm watching her or whatever. We still on ice, but it's cool. I could be around her or whatever, but I'm going to have to watch her. That was the vibe I got. So we had just seen Tisha at Trisha's house. Now we see Trisha rather, again with Dr. Francis. So yeah, she's getting the therapy she needs. Hopefully, hopefully she ain't doing it just for show. She's really listening, and he's really can assist her because she really does need it or whatever. She does. But so moving on from her. What happened after that? It's almost like I forget almost what happens scene to scene. Oh, so after that, so Tisha had asked Trisha to go with them to Bessemer so they can check out her mom's food truck and just have a little girls trip to Bessemer. She asked her that at the house. So the next scene after Trisha and the therapist is that the Sprinter van comes to pick up the girls. So he pulls up to Letitia in them house. Was supposed to have been their Airbnb, but she seemed like she living in it day in and day out. So they ain't making no money off of that because she's actually living in it. Right? Remember they said, this is going to be our Airbnb. She living in it. So, which is cool. It's their house. They can do what they want to do with it. But I'm just saying how, it was said that was going to be their Airbnb. But maybe they mean, that it was going to be their Airbnb after Scott Manor is built. Whenever that's going to be. So they get to a sprinter. She ended up affording a Mercedes sprinter. Destiny pulls up. She got her fake Go-Yard bag, and now she got on her arm a 80, not an 80, but an 8, anywhere between a $6,000 and $7,000 bag, Chanel. But mind you, she can only afford an 8x8 storage unit, but she can afford damn near $6,000-$7,000 bag. Okay. But so they get in the sprinter van or whatever, and they get to ride. And of course the conversation goes to the party where they all had it out with Miss Nell. And Trisha couldn't come because she was out of town on her birthday, or for her son's birthday. And even though Kimmie apologized to Miss Nell, realized that she was wrong for trying to get crunk with her, apologized to her, she get to backtracking and backpedaling to a degree, still feeling away and this and that, this and that, this and that. And it's like, that's what happens with y'all when y'all get with each other or get with just two of y'all kind of backpedal or backtrack on what y'all say, which is crazy to me. How do you expect the smoke to clear if y'all keep bringing up the smoke? So I was noticing Destiny throughout this part of the episode, all the way to when they start sitting with Miss Wanda. Lightweight, even though Destiny was actually the bone collector, because Destiny is actually the one that told Tisha what Miss Nell said, which was keep her MF name out her MF mouth, which is true. She did say that, and we already established that Nell did kind of make an inference that, they left because of her son and his baby or whatever. We already established that, but, Destiny, you the bone collector, so you kept it going. You kept it going. You lit the fire on it to keep it going, and this is what the momentum is now, based on you saying that to Tisha. Now, I mean, I guess would they have a storyline, or would they have anything juicy to go over and talk about during these episodes? Had not Destiny did it, I don't know. We'll never know at this point, because Destiny did tell Tisha what Nell said. So, but I was noticing Destiny's expression when they get to talking about everything with Miss Nell and how she, acting or whatever. And she kind of like, and then she did a quick confessional cutaway, like, I'm in the middle. Girl, you not in the middle, because you are the one keeping stuff going or whatever. How is that in the middle? You're more of a perpetuator. And then Tisha started going off into the lane of, she came to me talking about Miss Nell, and she was talking about my marriage and this and that and this and that and this and that. Well, she didn't really talk about, she did ask a question way back when, what do y'all think about the girls' interview with Martell and Coleslaw? And they said, we don't think nothing about it. We don't believe her. Or whatever. And Tisha jumped up like, I ain't got nothing to worry about. What do you all think I got to worry about? As to say, her shape. So, yeah. You definitely are worried. You're definitely still worried. And what wife wouldn't be concerned? It's not crazy to be concerned. It's just a matter of what it is that y'all gonna do to be not necessarily transparent to the show, but transparent to each other to be able to get past it. That's what it's all about. Not that you wouldn't be worried, because any woman would be worried. And we know Tisha is worried, which is why when they finally got to Bessemer and, sat down, got them nasty ass potatoes, she lit right into her mama that Nell was coming for her, and just really forgot about the night about the baby. I mean, they talked about it briefly, but Tisha really went in with her mama talking about how Nell was coming for her and the marriages, and because that's what Tisha want her mother to go off on Miss Nell about. So once again, in 2025, how many seasons in, 10 seasons, 11 seasons, or whatever it is, she still cannot fight her own battles. Or she don't feel that whatever all she has said to Miss Nell in the past, she don't feel like that's good enough. I guess she feel that her mama can go deeper, harder, or really get Miss Nell told in some kind of way or whatever. First of all, the infidelity between Nell and Fletch happened years ago. To our knowledge, nothing has happened since then. And they brought it to the show. They talked about it. They had a segment about that and all this and that. That's out in the open. It's nothing else to talk about. Now, I guess they're living happily ever after or whatever, as far as their marriage is concerned or whatever. So how you going to get back at, because the only way to get back at Nell is to have some dirt on her husband. You know what I mean? By way of him cheating or this or that. So if you ain't got that, I don't see how you're going to get back at her. Even Miss Nell. I don't see how Miss Nell is going to get back at her. However, whatever. Tisha definitely sicked her mother on Nell. And Destiny was sitting there looking like, oh my God. Like, no, she not. Look at what she's doing. She's sicking her mother on Nell. And it ain't even really about the problem at hand, which was that party. It's really about some old mess. And again, that came back up about the interview that Martell and them did, and the girl, and both of them like, well, I don't believe it, because of how the girl looked. Well, and I couldn't find the picture that I had. I thought I saved it, but I didn't. That girl did not always look like that. Now, mind you, the girl did look kind of crazy or weird a little bit. Like she was a little bit out of shape or whatever. And her face was kind of big. I don't know. She had a weird looking face. She did. But, and I might try to put it in at the very, very end of this video because I'm going to try to find it. But the girl didn't always look like that. Okay, she kind of looked a lot more sexier and a lot more prettier in the face back in the day when all of this stuff transpired allegedly with the Scott man. Mind you, Kimmie was so adamant, like, my husband, he not anything that looks like that, pointing. First of all, the P don't have no face. They don't care about how it look. And they don't care about how the woman's face look, especially when you're giving it up the way she said she gave it up. Mind you, I don't know about nobody else, but you would have to be paid a pretty penny in order to get on film and say that two men did that to you at the same time. Or one man, whatever. And put it in all them different holes. Mind you, some women can't even be paid to do that, to say that about themselves. Some women can because they might be desperate. They might have drug problems. It might be a lot of things. Maybe the light's getting ready to cut off. It could be a lot of reasons why someone would, actually say that type of stuff about themselves. And it's not true. Anything to get paid. But the thing is, I don't think that woman would actually make herself look the way she made herself look by admitting that if it wasn't true. Ain't a woman just about to say that shit and it ain't true. And like I said, maybe it ain't true. Maybe she just truly needed the money and just didn't give a F about how it made her look because she figured it's these people, fans of this show. I ain't never got to see these people. Half of them don't live in Huntsville, and the ones that do, oh well. It could be a thing like that, and it very well could be. But I would first probably believe the woman before I would say that it's not true, and that's just me. But the two dumb Scott sisters, they don't believe that, and that's because they don't want to. And that's unfortunate. But hey, if they're not ready to deal with these hard situations in their marriage, they're just not. And nobody, can really have nothing to say about it because that's their marriage. But Destiny was sitting there looking like, because Destiny probably believe it, because Destiny's probably thinking ain't no woman about to sit up there on no film and admit to no mess like that. knowing that it ain't true. And we all know that Martell ain't got no money. You definitely can't get me to say it for $100. You know what I mean? Unless the woman does have a crack problem and just needed a rock real quick. Say any damn thing. But the woman don't look like she got a drug problem like that. And Martell and Martell and Coleslaw don't have no money to give her like $5,000 and $6,000 or $3,000 to do it, or $2,500 to do the interview. You know what I mean? He don't have it. That's why he's moving, or has moved, Coleslaw into his rental property, because she relies on him for rent, and he can't afford to pay her rent and he don't want to live with him, so he had to move her in his rental property, bypass on making money, and moved her into his rental property because he don't have no money. So it ain't like she got paid, and if she did get paid, it wasn't much. It wasn't enough for her to agree to say something like that if it wasn't true. That's for sure. And I do believe that. And Destiny was just sitting there listening and looking like, And so Miss Wanda tried to cut, light in on her, like, and you are the bone collector, and she was like, no. But Destiny, you are the one that brought that back to them, or to Tisha. You are. So you are the bone collector. I don't know why she don't want to own up to that. But anyway, after Miss Wanda kept reading them and making them look and sound dumber and dumber, even though she tried to not really bring up Tisha, but she was more so talking to Kimmie. But we all know Tisha is included. She just didn't say nothing to Tisha, but Tisha is included. She was talking to Kimmie, though. She was looking at Kimmie. And at the end of the day, before the conversation was over, she was like, look, if it looked like they could have did it, they did it. If it seemed like they did it, they did it. And they was both sitting there looking dumb. Because there's nothing that you can say behind that. So, yes. Kimmie and Tisha need to come to the front of the room. You know what I mean? It backfired on Tisha. She was just trying to gas her mama up to go in on Miss Nell, which I'm quite sure at some point before the season is over with, we'll see Miss Wanda try to, talk to Miss Nell, and we'll see how that goes. But in the same token, your mama ended up making you look stupid because she gave you the real as it relates to y'all husbands. So I would say that was an epic fail, and it backfired and made Kimmie and Tisha look dumb. Y'all tell me what y'all think. Do you think that Miss Wanda is really going to have a talk with Miss Nell? And if so, do you think she is going to lash out at Miss Wanda like she did with Kimmie? Do you think Miss Nell is going to really get crunked with Wanda? And also, do you really feel that Destiny feels sorry for Kimmie and Tisha? Like, these men cheated on y'all, and it has been brought to the forefront on the whole show, and y'all ain't really doing nothing about it. Do you feel like she's looking at them sideways like, I think so. I believe so. Because we seen how she looked straight into the dang on camera like, this is a trip. She looked away from them, looked yonder, and we could see that she was looking directly into the production people camera like, with a smirk on her face. Like, this is crazy. This girl mama calling them out about their husbands cheating. Yeah, I just thought that blew my mind. I was like, it backfired on Tisha, because Tisha sat there and really not gaslit, but just really she put the battery in her mama back to at some point come for Miss Nell, and we'll see how that goes. It doesn't look like it's happening next episode, but we'll see. So you guys drop down comments, tell me what you think, like the video, subscribe, hit your notifications, and please let me know what you think. I talk back. All right, guys, ciao.